Hey everyone, Joe Crispin. Instead of writing a longer email, I know I can get wordy for our fall league. I just wanted to include this quick insight for you on video. In general, for our league, we're moving in two ways from the general to the specific. In my experience, a lot of times with youth basketball and even in college basketball, frankly, it's very tempting to try to get to the specific too soon without building on a very broad foundation of general. So we do this in two ways. One, we do it in the actual 8 weeks themselves. We start with general, ball movement, people movement. Then we move to ball movement, people movement with spacing. Then we move to specific actions with spacing and ball movement and people movement. And then we kind of get, as the 8 weeks go by, just introducing those actions without neglecting those first two things. Because the first 2 weeks are very conceptual: ball movement, people movement, spacing. They usually don't look very impressive. They would look much more impressive if I did 4-on-0, 3-on-0 with cones. But from a learning perspective, I don't think that's as effective. It would be more impressive coaching probably on the surface, but it doesn't. It's not as effective for learning a messy game like basketball. That being said, we can sometimes be a little more precise with the younger groups in learning the action. But what you'll see from moving the general perspective to the specific is not just in the weeks themselves, but in the age groups themselves. So as kids get older, we get increasingly more complex and specific. For example, we had a high school group last week that within 10 minutes we were running things that you'll see NBA teams run all the time, and they did a very, very good job applying it. We put in the baseline action to start with an elbow action, stagger away, all in 5-on-5. Then we added an entry that you would get into via transition. And they moved right into it, and they played into it for 10 to 15 minutes, and it looked great. And it was live. It wasn't a rote drill. So the point is, when you're young, those specific things don't matter. In the general sense, like if they can move generally where they should go, that's usually important enough to me, because the decision making and just kind of problem solving in the mess is often more important. But as they get older and older, those specifics matter more and more. If you were to stay throughout those 3 hours, I think you would see that to a pretty good degree. And then you would also see, even with a 9th or 10th grader, there's a big difference between a good 9th and 10th grader and a good 11th or 12th grader who's really able to apply this information. Maybe we have some kids that have been doing this for 6 years now, 5 or 6 years since we've started it. So that's all part of the fun, all a part of the madness, and that's plenty enough for me. I hope this helps, and we'll look forward to seeing you this week and in the weeks ahead.